So twice I lost on this deal. And so what are my takeaways? Hey guys, Matt McKeever here. So it's been a while since I did a day in the life of video, and just kind of what all went on yesterday for me would make for a great day in the life of video. So I figured, why not shoot this quick video for you? Warning, you know me, it's not gonna be quick. And unfortunately, I didn't realize at the time what was going on, so I don't even have a lot of B-roll footage of it. But essentially, let's start from the beginning. So in January 2017, I realized that the market was definitely starting to get hot here in London, Ontario, and it was becoming far more difficult to get deals on the MLS. Properties were frequently getting into multiple offers and selling for above asking at prices that were already well above what it would have been priced at last year. So this fundamentally changes the way I can invest. It drastically impacted my ability to buy undervalued, underappreciated deals, go in, fix them up, because now I'm competing with a lot of weekend warriors and HGTV watchers that essentially don't factor in their time, they don't factor in their labor, and so they're willing to buy properties much higher in the hopes of flipping and essentially breaking even. It's a crazy thing what these guys are doing, but essentially it drives the prices up, which makes it far harder to find deals. So beginning January 2017, I realized that I was going to need to really focus on developing more private deals, developing a bigger funnel to get me private deals. And so I essentially implemented all kinds of different novel attempts and experiments to get private deals. So the reason a private deal is enticing is really twofold. First is the seller's going to have less transactional costs. They're not going to have to pay a realtor. So they should save between 4 and 5% on their transaction fees. And so theoretically, since they've saved that 4 to 5%, the net result means that they can actually sell the property for 4 to 5% less to you, and they'll still get the same total net money from the sale. So saving that 4 to 5%, if you're able to buy privately and buy for 4 to 5% less than you would on the MLS, again, that's just going to help your margins. It's going to give you a little bit more breathing room if you're trying to do a BRRRR, which is the buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat process that I've documented before on my channel. But anyways, that's the first reason that a private deal is enticing. The second one is just really comes down to information asymmetry. Particularly in a hot market, there's a chance that the seller may not have a perfect set of data, a perfect set of information. So they may in fact be basing the price they're asking for off of last year's market, when this year's market's substantially different than last year's. In addition, they may have anchored the value of the property back to whatever they purchased it for, and they may have purchased it decades ago. And finally, the other reason that the private sale is enticing is often there are going to be weird quirks or problems with the property, and frequently what ends up happening is the seller, for whatever reason, they have their ego tied up in this property. Maybe they're a hoarder, maybe they just let it fall into such disrepair, and they'd be embarrassed to let realtors, neighbors, and friends come through their property, and they just kind of want to make the problem disappear. And because of that, they're essentially willing to sell for a lower price and just privately, so that they don't have a bunch of strangers walking through and judging them and all that. So yeah, with a private sale, you're really talking about lower transactional fees, which theoretically means you can buy the property for less. You're talking about a seller that probably has information asymmetry. They're probably not as up to date with the market as a realtor would if a realtor was trying to sell on their behalf. So particularly in a rising or hot market, private sale can be very enticing because they may actually be basing their price off of 6 months ago or a year ago. And third, there's an opportunity that there's some weird quirks with the property, there's some problems where you can step in and create a real win-win and get the property at a substantial discount versus what it would sell for on the MLS. So what does that have to do with the day in the life of? Well, I started focusing in January of 2017 getting these private sales. And essentially one of the novel techniques I was using was literally just knocking on neighboring properties of mine door, introducing myself. If there was a tenant, asking for their landlord's contact information. If it was the owner, asking if they knew anyone that was potentially interested in selling in the neighborhood. Just trying to get myself in front of opportunities was the real goal. And in one of the situations, I did get myself in front of an opportunity. So a neighbor to one of my triplexes owned a triplex as well that he was considering selling. He walked me through the property. Jeff Weibel, my real estate agent, tagged along with me. And as me and Jeff were just walking through, we're just kind of being chatty with him, friendly. And I asked in passing, oh, by any chance, do you own other properties you'd consider selling? He did. It turned out he actually had 6 properties in my target neighborhoods. So that was very exciting. It sounded like he was basing his sales price off of a year or 2 years ago, kind of what the market was doing. So there was opportunity with that information asymmetry. And finally, I got the sense that he'd been mismanaging the properties for a little bit, and he may in fact have missed some mortgage payments, which meant his lender was putting pressure on him to either catch up or liquidate some of his holdings so that he could make them whole. And so that kind of like checked a lot of the boxes that you're looking for in a private sale. So it seemed like a great opportunity. So I met him around mid to late January, early February. We had all kinds of back and forth on the 6 properties. Around March of 2017, I reached out to him and said, I am interested in buying your properties. I'd like to buy 3 in one stage and 3 in another stage. Here's my offer for the first 3. He'd already given me a ballpark figure of what he was looking for and the type of terms he wanted. My offer met all of those. And so it seemed like we had a done deal, right? So I sent him the email, and days go by. Then weeks go by. And then it turns into months. The entire time, every week, I'm sending them an email, and I'm leaving them voicemail, and I'm calling his property manager and trying to get on her good side just in the hopes that I can get some information from her as well. Meanwhile, the dude's completely ghosted me. So frustrating. There's nothing, it's so frustrating, but that's one of the risks with dealing with these private sellers. That's why you constantly need to be building up multiple funnels of deals. You need to be having private deals, you need MLS deals, you need to get yourself in front of as many opportunities as possible, because you're frequently going to lose on a lot of these opportunities. Just to refresh, January 2017, meet this private seller. Around March 2017, make an offer that meets all his criteria. Then for about 2.5 months, the dude does nothing, doesn't respond to a single email, doesn't respond to a single voicemail, and doesn't answer any of my texts. I started reaching out to his property manager all the time. And so for the first month that he was ghosting me, he was still in contact with his property manager on a semi-regular basis, which was frustrating, but I didn't want to seem too eager, so I didn't want to actively use that channel to get in contact with him. But after that first month, then for the next 6 weeks, he completely ghosted his property manager as well. Until early May, she reached out to me and said, hey Matt, just wanted to let you know the first property you had bid on that you and Dave had talked about, we just lost it to the bank. So the bank had stepped in and foreclosed upon the first property I tried to buy off of him. And the crazy thing is, that offer, that email offer I sent to him back in March, was actually for more money than what the bank was listing it at. And so now, because it was a power of sale, because the bank had stepped in to sell on his behalf because he'd missed his mortgage payments, people weren't going to be able to see the property for at least a week, just because it was going to take a while for the property manager and the realtor to line up the showings, which again presented an opportunity for me because I'd already walked through this property when it was a private sale. So I immediately contacted one of my money partners. We talked through it really fast. I said, we need to just go in and asking cash, no conditions. Let's get this property locked down and let's make this deal happen. And that money partner was already aware of the deal previously when it was supposed to be a private deal, so he was ready to pull the trigger. So we said, yes, the market's only got hotter since March. It's actually probably appreciated another 5 to 10%, which is crazy. I'm not saying you should bank on appreciation ever, but that's just the fundamentals of what this market is like right now. So it definitely seemed like it was still a good deal, if not a better deal, because we'd offered more in March and the market got hotter since March. So we went in, perfect, we did it. We should get it, right? You don't think of power of sales or bank sales as being driven based off of trying to get multiple offers and sell for above asking. They're really just trying to make themselves whole and then provide any additional benefit back to the original owner. What ended up happening was another buyer stepped in and sight unseen offered way more than what we'd offered, which was at the asking price. And so what ended up happening there was the bank went with their offer. It was conditional just for a couple days, just so that they could view the property and so that they could arrange financing. So twice I lost on this deal. And so what are my takeaways? To be honest, I think if you have a great deal in front of you, and at the time I thought back in March this was a great deal and it was kind of almost a bird in the hand, so I started playing a little bit, getting a little cute, and trying to maximize the value from the deal rather than just being happy that I had a deal. So that's definitely a big takeaway from this, is that if there's a great opportunity there, just lock down that opportunity. Don't try and squeeze every penny out of a deal, because if you squeeze too hard, that penny's gonna slip right through your fingers and you're gonna lose the complete deal. So what ended up happening was yesterday, me and Jeff were doing the Gary V 2017 Flip Challenge. You can look forward to a couple of videos on that coming out in the near future. But essentially the idea behind that was you go to garage sales, flea markets, and you buy things cheaply and you resell them for more, whether it be on Kijiji, eBay, or in person at a flea market booth. It doesn't really matter. And one of the frequent issues that aspiring real estate investors bring up to me and Jeff constantly is they don't have money for a down payment. And we want to document an interesting and novel way that people could actually raise the money for the down payment for their first rental property. So I kind of mentally clicked off real estate yesterday and was really just focusing on this flip challenge and stuff. But what ended up happening was that deal, that sale, that bank sale, would-be buyer walked away from the deal for whatever reason. They didn't like the home inspection, they weren't able to get financing. Doesn't really matter. So the deal's dead for him. The deal's alive for me again. So now we're back here. So am I actually going to follow my own words and not try and squeeze every cent out of the deal? Yes. I'm just, like, I could try and get cute now and say like, oh, you already lost one buyer because of the condition of the property. I'm gonna come in slightly below asking, but I'll still give you cash. That's probably what I would have done in the past. Instead, I know that it's a profitable deal as is, and I just want to lock down that profitable deal. So I'm going to go back in with the exact same conditions, the exact same offer, and just get this locked down, just make this happen so that I can have this deal. What's frustrating though is this private seller, he's probably going to lose the next 5 properties to foreclosure as well, and I'm going to have to keep chasing it in this manner instead of just being able to buy it as a package deal and just one clean, simple solution. And what's going to result for the seller is he's going to get less because there's the transaction fees and the bank has stepped in, and there's going to be all sort of fees associated with that. So he's going to net way less money because he kept procrastinating on selling to me, because he let his ego get tied up in the fact that he was under such pressure to sell. So yeah, that's it for this day in the life of video. Hopefully you guys got some takeaways from it. Hopefully it wasn't too rambly. I know I still haven't been keeping up 100% on my YouTube channel. I'm just in the process of moving right now, and I'm hoping to soon have that wrapped up, and then I'll start doubling down on the YouTube content. But if there are certain types of videos, certain content you want me to cover, definitely let me know in the comment section down below. YouTube wants you to check out this video. I'm going to ask you to subscribe, and I'm going to recommend you check out that video. Thanks again for taking the time to watch. Until next time, guys, remember, making money is a team sport, but if you're not saving it, what's the point? Thanks. Bye.